Welcome, everybody. This is Bob Hollis providing technical hosting services today. Welcome to the webinar. The webinar is being recorded and will be made available to attendees and people who've registered at a later date when it's ready. All attendees are muted by default. However, we encourage questions. So feel free to enter your questions in the questions panel here as they come to mind. And some of them may be answered during the webinar as we're going through different parts, but there'll be also time at the end for additional questions. Technical support, if you need it, can be found at gotowebinar.com. Just click resources and FAQs, but it generally goes pretty smoothly. And with that, I will toss it to Nate.
Thank you so much, Bob. Appreciate it. I'm Nate Pelzar, the program manager here at CPSC. I've got some other folks on the line as well, including Doug Kobold. He's the executive director here at California Product Stewardship Council. I believe I also have Ivan Bardwaj on the phone. He's one of the chiefs at the Department of Healthcare Services, and Bob Hollis, of course, our webinar host. So at some point during this presentation, we will pass it off to Ivan for a 5-minute commentary on the Greater MAP program and the funding that led to this specific program. So again, welcome and thank you for your time for joining us this morning. This is webinar 2 for the Department of Healthcare Services Drug Take-Back Program. The first webinar provided an overview of the program and some background information, and also directed folks to our website. The second webinar will take a deeper dive into the program and talk about some of the requirements and the process that a bin host would go through for actually removing the liner and processing the filled liner and sending it back through for disposal. So with that being said, I'll provide you with some background on who we are, the California Product Stewardship Council. On your screen, you should see some basic information about our mission and our vision. In summary, our mission is to shift the burden of funding waste diversion from the public to the producers of the problem products. And our vision is that our state government will ultimately set the performance goals and expectations of how producers manage the end-of-life systems for problem products. And you can see our staff on the right. I'm in the back on the right. The Drug Take-Back Program Overview. As I mentioned on the first webinar, the purpose of this program is to install about 300 medicine collection bins, also known as med bins, across the entire state of California, with just some exceptions. This program really is soup to nuts, as I like to say. It's free of charge, meaning the med bins are provided to bin hosts for free. It also includes disposal of meds dropped into the bin through August of 2020. It also includes a number of webinars, such as this webinar, to provide information about the program, the disposal process, how to receive free media coverage, and just how to learn more about increasing public and healthcare community awareness of safe medicine disposal. Part of the program, too, is also technical assistance. If anybody has any questions before receiving a bin, or about the program in general, or during the installation process, or after receiving a bin, we are here to help. We provide technical assistance and are able to answer any questions that might come up during the process. I did also want to qualify and just really articulate what it means to be a bin host. I did mention that this is a statewide program, and there are a couple exceptions for specific counties as to who qualifies to be a bin host. So you can see on the screen, we've got 9 counties listed. Those are counties that already have med bin programs funded by pharma under a local ordinance. So unfortunately, these counties are not able to participate in the grant program as it's written. All other counties in California may participate. We encourage anybody who has a pharmacy, or represents a pharmacy, or represents a hospital with a pharmacy, or represents a sheriff office or a police department to apply. Looks like we have Ivan Bardwaj on the phone. He's one of the chiefs over at the Department of Healthcare Services, and he'd like to share with us some information about the DHCS and the MAP program, and ultimately what we plan to accomplish through this program. Ivan, are you on the phone?
Nate, was Ivan registered as a panelist?
He said he uses code 56.
Yeah, he said he used code 56. Okay, we'll move on. Implementation, federal, state, and local protections. It's So I did want to mention and read explicitly from the slide that top line where it says federal, state, and local governments have put regulatory protections in place to ensure that drugs are handled with care and that you, your staff, and consumers are kept safe. This is very important. We do have to comply with a number of rules that have been provided to us by federal authorities, state authorities, and also local authorities. So what we're going to do over the next few slides is we'll walk through some of the requirements and the protections that are afforded to us through the feds, the state of California, and also local jurisdictions too. We'll start with the federal government, Drug Enforcement Agency. So on our website, takebackdrugs.org, we've got a number of fact sheets, and we've got just a wealth of resources for you, including an extensive list of frequently asked questions and reference documents and guides for you to peruse and review and consume at your pleasure. One of the most important pertains to federal guidelines, specifically DEA regulations. The one that's most important is the registrant fact sheet, and that talks about things such as what's an authorized collector, what can be collected, and of course the registration process. So I would encourage you to go through that document. It's about 3 to 4 pages long in length. But I wanted to review with you on this webinar what it means really to be an authorized collector. That's the question that I received the most. That seems to be the one that's causing the most confusion. So let's just walk through what the DEA guideline is for what an authorized collector is. So the DEA guideline says that manufacturers, distributors, reverse distributors, narcotic treatment programs, hospitals, clinics with an on-site pharmacy, and retail pharmacies that desire to be collectors may do so by modifying their registration to obtain authorization to be a collector. Registrants can modify their registration online. Once authorized, these entities are then considered authorized collectors. So you have to have a desire to change your registration. You have to go to the DEA site to change your registration. And then once approved and authorized by the DEA, you are considered an authorized collector. Also in that same document is information regarding what can be collected. So you've seen on our site, I'm sure, that we include categories 2 through 5, controlled and uncontrolled substances. That, in summary, is what can be collected. You'll see on the actual bins themselves a nice, neat, and clean list of what can be put into the bins and what's disallowed from the bins. I also wanted to mention that there's the registration process. It's very important that you do this. Without registering through the DEA, you cannot become an authorized collector. So it's an extra step. It's not a difficult step. It actually takes very little time. I've seen the form myself, and it's very limited in scope. It asks questions that you should know all the answers to as a pharmacist or somebody who runs a law enforcement agency. So it's short, it's easy, it's quick, and we would certainly require you to do that. I'd also encourage you to take a look at the full regulations. It's called the Disposal Act of 2010. It was published in 2014. We've included links here not only on this slide, but also on our website as well to the registrant fact sheet, to the full text for the Disposal Act of 2010, and also some additional resources too. So that covers federal government. Next is state of California. Aside from the rulemaking bodies, the legislature within California, we also have the California Board of Pharmacy. They've been given authorization by the legislature to set up specific requirements. They do, in fact, have their own set of requirements. You have to be licensed by the Board of Pharmacy. The med bins that are placed have to be within a specific location, and they have to be under a certain amount of observation. You have to comply with a very specific disposal process. Again, a lot of the stuff is common sense. It's not complicated. It is very prescribed, and it is listed on our website for your convenience. We've also got the full regulations there. You'll see subsection 1776 mentioned here. We've also got a link on our website that shows that exact subsection 1776. It's a very short document, but it does include some useful information that I think you need to be aware of. We've also got some additional resources on the website, such as that listed here on the slide. Possible local requirements. So although we're not able to, and we're not in position to really determine what the local requirements are for every jurisdiction throughout the state of California, we would encourage you to reach out to your local Department of Health or Human Services for specific requirements. I would venture to say that most of those departments don't have requirements, but some do. So we leave it up to you to reach out to your local Health or Human Services department, reach out to those folks, find out if they have any requirements, and oftentimes, if they do, it's simply a form that needs to be filled out so they can keep track of who has med bins within their jurisdiction. I also wanted to provide to you some information about the disposal process. I'm getting a lot of questions from potential bin hosts about what actually is involved with setting up the med bin, installing the liner, removing the liner, and ensuring that proper pickup occurs. So what I'll do is I'll walk through the disposal process overview with you. So as part of this program, as I mentioned, it includes a free bin, free professional installation, and free servicing through August of 2020. What's not included is somebody coming out and installing the liner for you. So what we're going to do is we're going to install the bins, and then we'll have shipped to you a bundle of liners that will then need to be installed. On our website and on the slide, I've got some links that show you within just a minute of how easy it is to install the liner and to put it into the bin properly. The same goes for packaging and shipping up a filled liner for ultimate destruction. So let's start at the top. The bin liner is installed. Again, we cover professional installation here at CPSC. We'll have somebody come out to the location to install into the facility the bin. They'll unpack the bin, they'll install the bin. They'll receive separately from a company called Covanta a package of liners. They come with instructions, and again, we've also got the link here and on the website that shows you how to assemble the box. It's basically a flat pack, and you open the flat pack, take out the flattened box, and assemble the box. It has a couple stickers on it. You don't need any additional tape. All the stickers that you would need to ensure that the box is rigid and maintains its rigidity, both in the box, in the med bin rather, and also during shipping. It's all included. So you don't need any kind of specialty tape or any additional kind of packaging tape for securing it once it's shipped. Once the bin is filled, you don't need to call for pickup. We have a portal that you would use, and we'll provide instructions to you on how to use that, login information, and also very specific instructions regarding which screens to go to and where to click and what to do. But you simply log into the portal and send a request for pickup. Common carrier shows up, and between the time you log for pickup and the box is picked up, the pharmacist on duty and an assistant and or employee would remove the liner from the bin, remove all the air, seal the liner, which is essentially a large regulatory compliant Ziploc bag, for lack of a better way to describe it. I think everyone knows what a Ziploc bag is, so that's essentially what this is, but it's a heavy-duty grade liner that can be removed of air and then sealed and then taped and then packaged inside the cardboard box that surrounds the liner. So that entire package, meaning the box and the liner, is shipped via common carrier. So once you request a pickup and package the box up and the box is picked up, you'll then need to ensure that you document all these activities. We're providing you with everything you need to document this. It's paperwork, it's short and sweet and easy to complete. That is one of the requirements of the Board of Pharmacy, to maintain very specific notes on who does what and when. So again, this is all explained on the website, and I would encourage you to review that. If you find anything confusing, or if you just have some additional follow-up questions about the disposal process or packaging up the bin, don't hesitate to let me know. I'm always available to assist. Envelope. So part of the California Drug Take-Back program, there is an envelope component. So what we've done is we've created a component of the greater program that involves the distribution of envelopes to interested bin hosts and opioid abuse prevention coalitions in counties selected by CPSC and DHCS. So what we're going to do is we're going to use this as a bit of a test run for a larger DHCS program that we ultimately plan on executing at some point down the road. But for the time being, we're going to start with a collection of counties that will receive the return envelopes for unwanted medications. We'll likely move forward with 1 to 2 large counties, 2 to 3 medium counties, and 2 to 3 small counties that vary obviously in population and geography across the state of California. So we're currently working with DHCS to finalize this portion of the project, and we plan to announce details soon. So I do want to encourage you to share any questions that you might have via the panel on the side through GoToWebinar. It looks like I've received one question But before we do that, let's talk about next steps. If you haven't applied, I would encourage you to apply at your earliest convenience. Before you apply, you would need to take some photos of where the receptacle will be located within your facility. That's a very important component of the application. We would direct you to go to takebackdrugs.org. You'll see a link there to start to initiate the application process. It's very easy. Again, it's very short and sweet. It takes about 7 minutes on average to complete the application, including upload time associated with the photos that I just mentioned. And then what we do is we review each and every application. In fact, we just finished with round 1 of application review, and we're in the process of reaching out to folks that have applied and have been selected to receive a MedBin as part of this program. So once you apply, you would then wait for CPSC to contact you regarding next steps. And I do want to see if Ivan is still on the line and if he can hear me.
Nate, I believe Ivan is on the line. Ivan, we're going to unmute you now, so you'll be able to speak.
Great. Ivan, thank you for joining us. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Nate.
Great. Apologize for that. Thank you for joining us. We're really glad to have you. Just like you did last time, if you could please provide a bit of an overview about DHCS and the MAP program and what you aim to accomplish through the smaller programs under the MAP program, including our program.
Yes, definitely. So again, my name is Ivan Bardwaj, and I am the Chief Contract Manager at the Department of Healthcare Services for the Medication Assisted Treatment Expansion Project. And, just want to thank everyone for, your participation in this project, your interest in this project, and just go over a little bit of the background, not too much. Don't want to bore any of you. We do have over 50 different projects that are part of this MAT expansion project, which is funded by 3 federal grants from the Substance Abuse and Mental Health Services Administration. And the first of these was actually a grant called the State Targeted Response to the Opioid Crisis Grant. It was $90 million and focused primarily on treatment efforts. And so that began in May 2017, and it's running through April 2020. And then we received the State Opioid Response and State Opioid Response Supplemental Grants, which are funding this particular project. And those 2 grants total about $175 million. So we're working with, $265 million total to target both treatment and prevention services. But this is really one of our prevention efforts. And again, this has been the focus for the latter of the 2 grants that, or the latter of the 3 grants that we received, basically. So prior to our work with the California Product Stewardship Council, there were no other projects with the same focus. The Drug Take Back program is the first of its kind for this particular effort. And we knew, at the department that there was a real need for it. As many of you are aware, in 2018, there were about 20 million prescriptions for opioids in California, and we really wanted to create a targeted effort to remove the amount of unnecessary prescription pills that are just, sitting in people's homes, waiting to be potentially abused, by prescribed individuals and then family members, or just diverted for illicit use. So, we're really excited for this particular project to be working with the California Product Stewardship Council and just engaging with many of you in the future to really kind of push this drug take back program. But I encourage you to visit our website if you do have any interest in any of our other projects and how this kind of fits into any other of our other efforts. That's californiamat.org. It's very simple, californiamat.org. And then there also is our media website, which is choosemat.org. And you'll find information about this and many of our other projects. So with that, I think I'll give it back to Nate.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Ivan. And you'll see links on our website that Ivan just mentioned for your convenience if you'd like to learn more about the MAT program. So what I'd like to do at this point is to move on to the question and answer period. And we do have a couple questions here, so we'll move on and respond to the first question, which is, are there any additional charges with additional collector status to DEA registration? So I'm not aware of any additional charges, but I will do some research, and if I find any, I'll certainly put information on the website about potential DEA registration charges. My understanding is that it's free. But again, I'll double check just to make sure, and if I find anything, I'll post it on the website that lists what those potential charges could be. The second question is, when will the counties selected for the envelope program be announced? And will counties need to submit applications for the envelope program? So even though we're just going through the final details for the envelope program, we're not in a position to announce just yet what those counties that are selected will be, but we hope to in the coming days and week or so. What we'll need to do at some point is we'll make a formal announcement letting folks know in those select counties that are BIN hosts that they're eligible to receive some of the dispersed envelopes. So we will be distributing those envelopes. We'll work with opioid coalitions in those counties and also BIN hosts in those counties to ensure that the envelopes are distributed. So stay tuned. And the third question is, would it be possible to have a bin installed at a skilled nursing facility serviced by a pharmacy, or would the bin have to be housed with the registrant, for example, the pharmacy? So even though the law allows skilled nursing facilities to host some bins, the way this grant is written is we're only offering the opportunity to host a bin to pharmacies, hospitals with pharmacies, and law enforcement offices. So I hope that clarifies that a bit. And those are the questions that we have. Doug, do you have any comments or points that you'd like to share with us?
Thank you, Nate. I'm glad to see that a lot of folks are on the line today or on the webinar and listening in. This is an excellent program. Ivan, thank you again to you and your staff for putting this opportunity out. CPSC is very happy to be the program manager for this particular project, and we're looking forward to making this very successful and getting a lot of unused medications off the street so that we can help deal with this opioid crisis.
Thank you, Doug. Last but not least, again, if anybody has any additional questions, we're here to help. Please let us know. My email address is nate@calpsc.org. Again, that's NATE@calpsc.org. It's also shown on your screen, and I've got my telephone contact information there as well. We encourage you to follow and to share our posts through the social media platforms you see on the screen. We always provide information on those platforms about this program, but your best resource truly is the website, takebackdrugs.org. I just want to thank everyone for participating in Webinar 2. We'll be announcing shortly the contents and date for Webinar 3, so stay tuned for that, and have a wonderful day.